All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops, a great millstone for teaching me this truth. It's your brother Rabbi Nap, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, satisfying to the Lord's elect. Okay, I'm just going to go into, see what's on the news a little bit, and a couple articles or whatever. See what's going on in the world. Today's news, NBA 2K26 introduces skill-based layup mechanics. Who cares? Senate cuts PBS, NPR funding. Mike Williams announces NFL retirement at 30 after 8 seasons. Let's see what the Senate cuts PBS. 13 minutes ago, the U.S. Senate has passed a $9 billion recession package proposed by President Donald Duck, which includes cutting all federal funding for PBS, NPR, and USAID. This legislative move aimed at reducing government spending has sparked debate over the implications for public broadcasting and foreign aid programs. The bill, which passed with a narrow margin, will now return to the House for further deliberation, potentially affecting local programming, especially in rural areas. Okay. So they might not be any more PBS. Why does that even matter? Who cares? 51 yay and 48 nay. Hey, the scriptures tell you, man, let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Let's grab that. Let your yay be yay, or your nay be nay. Let's get into that. What scripture is that? Matthew 5 and 37. Let's go there. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 37. Matthew 5, verse 37. Actually, let's start up a little bit. Personal relationships. Start up. Yeah, let's start right here. Let's start at personal relationships. Matthew 5 and 21. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. Okay, so, but I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Okay, let's go into this, man. Let's go into red letter. This is Yahweh Shai speaking. And I'm going to search this up. Matthew 5 and 21. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, You shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. This verse is part of Yahweh Shai's Sermon on the Mount, where he contrasts the traditional interpretations of the law with his deeper understanding. In this specific verse, Yahweh Shai is referencing the commandment against murder found in the Ten Commandments, and highlighting that his followers should not only avoid physical acts of murder, but also the anger and hatred that can lead to it. Okay. You have heard that it was said. This introduces the common understanding of the commandment as it was understood in the time of Yahweh Shai. To the people long ago, ye shall not murder. This directly quotes the commandment from the Old Testament, specifically Exodus 20 and 13. Let's go over there and check out Exodus 20 and 13. Let me open up a new tab and get right into it. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 13. Thou shalt not kill. Okay, so it says kill here, but we know this is talking about murder. Let's go into the word Ra. So let me look this up. This is a Ra. This Y-looking thing is this Y-looking character, Y with a little Ra I. Is that I? It looks like I. Ra I Cha. Ra I Cha. But this is saying Ra. Ra'ai is, what else is it? Oh, it's Tazah. So Ra Tazah. Ra Tazah Cha. Ra Tazah. This is a Tazah. Cha. Okay, this I don't even know how to explain. This is like a Ra with a dash in it. And this is Ra Tazah Cha. Let's see what they say.
Strong's H 7523. Ratzach. Ratzach.
Okay, Ra Tazach. Okay, Ra Tazach. I think they got that right. Ra Tazach. And it says to murder. Okay, so, because kill and murder, let's find out what the difference is between the two. Let's find out what is the difference. What is the difference between kill and murder? What is the difference between murder and kill? Murder is all about intent. It's when someone deliberately decides to end another person's life illegally. It's heavy stuff, both legally and morally. Killing, however, is a broader term that can describe ending a life by any means, intentionally or accidental, legal or not. Okay. All right. So the word here is ratazach. Ratzach. That's there. Ratazach. Ratazach. Okay. So to murder, man. So it's okay. Ye have heard that it was said by the old time that, and whosoever shall kill, meaning murder, shall be in danger of the judgment, because you'll be in danger of the judgment, because he told it's what's another precept? Let me go into my Bible, because as a matter of fact, there's a lot of tools inside the blue letter. You can go into cross references, for example, and thou shalt not kill. Genesis 9, 5, and 6. It gives you plenty. Deuteronomy 5 and 17. So this is where you can get your study on. Okay, in case you didn't know that. I'm just now starting to really get into the blue letter. Blue letter got a lot of options up here in this taskbar up here. Okay, thou shalt not kill. Genesis 9 and 5. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, in the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Man's blood by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. Okay, and that's what Exodus 20 and 13. So it's kind of referencing, not kind of, but that's what it's saying. You whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. So it's not for you to be killing. That's a law of the Israelites. Now, I'm thinking, does that apply in general? You just ain't supposed to. I'm thinking just, or is it just Israel? Is it just Israel against Israel? Let me see Genesis 9 and 6. Let's see. You know, I want to ask every question I can think of. Genesis 9 and 6 meaning, because we need to know this Bible. Okay, Genesis 9 and 6 states, whosoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God has God made mankind. This verse is widely interpreted as God's establishment of capital punishment for murder, emphasizing the sanctity of human life created in God's image. The verse implies that a murderer forfeits their right to life and should be executed by human authorities. Let me ask chat. Meaning of Genesis 9:6, and does it apply to Israelites only, or does it apply to any man killing a man? Because these laws were given to Israel, so this is why I'm asking. You might not be able to see this on my screen. It's probably going to be dark, but this is a great question. Let's take a close look at Genesis 9 and 6 and break it down clearly, both in meaning and scope. Genesis 9:6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. What does it mean? This verse comes after the flood, when God is making a covenant with Noah and his descendants, essentially all of humanity at that point. Well, essentially all of, yeah, because it's Shem, Ham, and Japheth at this point, and Noah. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, anyone who kills another human being unjustly, by man shall his blood be shed. Okay, this is a declaration. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of a good precept that can probably, let me finish this up. It doesn't command individuals to kill, but rather establishes the principle of justice later formalized in law. For in the image of God made he man. Human life is sacred because humans are made in God's image. To take a life is to attack the very image bearer of God. I disagree with that, because the order comes from Israel, okay? There is an order that's going to be established, but that's after. That order starts with Israel, okay? Israel was made in the image of God, okay? Not everybody. Not everybody was given. Adam was given, the Adamites, which is plural, which is Adam. When you read Genesis, the second chapter, Genesis 4, Genesis 5. Let me go over there. I don't want to get off topic, but I'll just grab the point. Genesis 5:1. This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that God created man. In the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Okay, so that's going back to the sons of God. Okay. So, but I was thinking of a precept when King David gave over men to be slain. Because of a covenant that was made. Let me see if that'll help me out. According to the King James Version of the Bible, King David handed over 7 male descendants of King Saul to the Gibeonites to be executed because of a covenant violation committed by Saul. 2 Samuel 21:1. Let's start there. See if this can make the point. 2 Samuel, where are you? 2 Samuel 21, Gibeonite revenge. Now, who are the Gibeonites? Let's look that up. Search. A Gibeonite refers to a person from the ancient city of Gibeon, which was located in the land of Canaan. In the biblical narrative, the Gibeonites are known for deceiving Joshua and the Israelites into forming a peace treaty with them, despite being Canaanites whom the Israelites were commanded to expel in Joshua the 9th chapter. As a matter of fact, let's jump there too. Let's get all the meat off the bone. I'm trying to learn here. Joshua, where are you? Joshua the 9th chapter. Guile of the Gibeonites, and let's see. I want to jump down. I want to get to the point. So I know he said he'll make them hewers of wood. Okay. Actually, I kind of got to start up. I have to. I'll start at Joshua 9:10. And all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon, king of Heshbon, and to Og, king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, we are your servants. Therefore now make ye a league with us. So this is the Gibeonites making a league with Israel. This our bread we took hot for our provision out of our houses on the day we came forth to go unto you. But now, behold, it is dry, and it is moldy. And these bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they be rent. and these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of the very long journey. So he was lying. And the men took of their victuals and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swear unto them. Okay. And it came to pass at the end of 3 days after they had made league with them that they heard that they were their neighbors and that they dwelt among them. And the children of Israel journeyed and came unto their cities on the third day. Now their cities were Gibeon and Shephirah and Beeroth and Kirjath Jearim. And the children of Israel smote them not, because the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by the Lord God of Israel. And all the congregation murmured against the princes. Okay, so Joshua didn't put these Gibeonites to death. Okay, but then we jump over here to the book of 2 Samuel 21:1. Then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year, and David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, it is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. Let's see if I can get that precept. When did he slew the Gibeonites? I need to know. Okay. Something like that. Let's go in that. 2 Samuel. Maybe I need to get rid of that. 2 Samuel 21. That's where I'm at. Oh, let's just keep. Let me go into my Bible, man. Matter of fact, go to tools, go to cross-reference. Where did he? It's not telling me. Inquire of the Lord. It's not giving me the cross-reference. It's interlinear. Oh, it's this. Okay, so let me just check my sword. Sometimes my sword gives me the precepts. 2 Samuel 21:1. I want to know when Saul started to slay the Gibeonites. Okay. When did he slay the Gibeonites? Second Samuel 21. When did he slay the Gibeonites? And one, is it giving me the precept? No. Okay, let's commentaries, I guess. Footnotes. Let's see. I don't know. It's not giving me anything. When did David? Saul's slaying of the Gibeonites is described in the Bible, specifically in 2 Samuel 21. Although the specific time it isn't explicitly stated, the text indicates a famine during King David's reign was a result of Saul's actions against the Gibeonites. The famine lasted for 3 years, and when David inquired of the Lord, he was told it was due to Saul's actions. The Gibeonites in turn sought retribution, leading to the execution of 7 of Saul's male descendants. Hey man, that's what the Lord said. So I don't know if that actually applies to Genesis, the 9th chapter, if a man slay a man, because this is a covenant. A covenant's involved in this one. But the commandment's a covenant too. You know, you agree to those terms, man. You ain't gonna be slaying people. Not supposed to go just kill people, man, intentionally. But I'm gonna read it. I don't think it really, now that I think about it, I don't think it really meets the point of what I'm trying to say here. Because I was reading Matthew 5, and so thou shalt not kill, Matthew 5 and 21. Okay, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. This refers to the consequences, both earthly and divine, for violating the commandment against murder. Yeah, so you can't just murder people, man. So, given the timing of it, because it says it was made with Noah. That well, hold on. Well, Genesis 9 and 6, not really Exodus 20 and 13. That was given to Moses. But Genesis 9 and 6 was given them, which is pretty much saying the same thing as the commandments. Okay, so I think you ain't supposed to be a murderer in general, whether you murder your own brother or anybody else. Okay, and but I'm going to read 2 Samuel 21 and 1 anyways. And the king, only up to the point 1 to 9. And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them. And Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Okay. A famine had struck Israel, and David sought the Lord's guidance. The Lord revealed that the famine was a consequence of Saul's actions against the Gibeonites, who were remnants of the Amorites, whom Saul had wrongly attacked despite a prior treaty with Israel. And we read that in Joshua the 9th chapter. A severe famine inflicted. David's inquiry, God's revelation. The Lord revealed that the famine was a consequence of Saul's actions against the Gibeonites. So this shows you can't. Clearly he murdered them, and that's why they were failing at Saul's offense. Saul, in his zeal for Israel and Judah, had attempted to eliminate the Gibeonites despite the treaty established by Joshua. So that's what's throwing me off, is that covenant, because would he have, if the covenant wasn't involved? Let me see what chat says. In 2 Samuel 21:2, if Israel never made a covenant with the Gibeonites, when Saul murdered them or slew them, would the Lord have caused a famine if it wasn't for the covenant? Let's see if that works. I know that sounds crazy, but chat's pretty smart, man. Let's see how smart. Excellent and thoughtful question. Let's look closely at 2 Samuel 21 and 2 in the surrounding context to understand why God allowed a famine and whether it was specifically because of a broken covenant. Context: who were the Gibeonites? We read that. So the famine in David's time. Now to your question, would God have caused the famine if there was no covenant in the first place? Answer: no, not likely. Here's why. The specific reason God gives for the famine is it is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. Verse 2 makes it explicit that the Gibeonites were under a sworn oath of protection by Israel. The killing was not just murder, it was a violation of a sacred agreement before God. So that's why. That's why it's mostly because of that covenant. But at the same time, it's murder. So that's why I don't know if this is a good example of murdering a heathen, how that would be looked on upon before the Lord if, they're thought to be nothing, according to Isaiah, the 40th chapter. I don't know how the Lord looks at that. I hope I'm not going too far, but I really don't because I'm leaning towards, if there was no covenant made, then it's kind of like it's just the will of the Lord. Because the Lord, in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, maybe that would be a better place to go. Deuteronomy 7:1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites. Oh, the remnant of the Amorites. Okay, so they were already on a conquest to destroy everyone in the land of Canaan during the time of Joshua. So they were already commanded to go and slay all of them. But Saul, knowing, that's how you know it's where your heart lies, man. Okay, he was just rebellious, man. And the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. So you weren't even supposed to make a covenant with them. So this just gets a little more freaky now, because the Lord told you not to make a covenant with them. But then you made a covenant with them and he honored it, even though he told you not to make a covenant with them. But it says the Gibeonites. Okay, it doesn't necessarily say the Gibeonites here, but in 2 Samuel 21, it says the Gibeonites of the remnant of the Amorites. Let's see what that means. Let me ask chat. 2 Samuel 21:2. What does it mean that the Gibeonites were a remnant of the Amorites? Elaborate on that, please. I don't know why I said please, but absolutely, this is a powerful detail packed into a small phrase. Let's break down what it means in 2 Samuel 21:2 when it says Gibeonites were a remnant of the Amorites. Who were the Amorites? The Amorites were one of the major Canaanite peoples living in the land before Israel entered into under Joshua. God had commanded Israel to drive them out or destroy them because their idolatry and wickedness. See Genesis 15-16 and Deuteronomy 7:1-2. Let me grab Genesis 15-16. I just read Deuteronomy. Genesis 15. Abram promised the son. Genesis 15. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. I don't know what that's talking about. Let's get into that. Meaning, Genesis 15:16 describes a promise from God to Abraham regarding his descendants' return to the promised land. Okay, God states that they will return in the 4th generation because the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full, indicating a delay in their possession of the land due to the Amorites' continued wickedness. This verse highlights God's justice and patience, as well as the fulfillment of his covenant with Abraham. So, if it's not yet full, that measure wasn't full yet, so they still had a little bit more time to dwell in their land, showing you that all these nations have that said measure that the Lord appointed for them to rule and to be in whatever position of authority that they're in this time. Even back then, since the beginning, this is all part of the Lord's plan. But let me get back to chat. It says it means the Gibeonites were a Canaanite people, descended from the Amorites, or part of the Amorite population. Leftover survivors from a people group God had judged and displaced. A remnant, not because of power or merit, but because they tricked Joshua into making a peace treaty. Well, I just read that. So while other Amorites were killed or driven out, the Gibeonites survived by deception. Yet Israel had made a binding covenant with them before the Lord, making them protected under the Israel's honor and God's expectation. Why is this important in 2 Samuel 21? Because it shows God still honored the covenant even with people from a condemned nation. The Gibeonites were not Israelites, yet God held Israel accountable for breaking their oath to them. It highlights God's justice and integrity. He doesn't show favoritism. He respects truth, honor, and promises even when made to outsiders. Okay, so let me ask this question. What am I doing? Cancel that. Are the Gibeonites Amorites? That's a great question, and it deserves a clear, detailed answer. Short answer, yes, the Gibeonites were Canaanites. No. Or the Amorites were Canaanites. And specifically, they are described in the second as a remnant of the Amorites. So biblically, yes, they are either considered Amorites or part of the border Amorite/Canaanite peoples. I don't know why that's still kind of vague to me, but let's look at a map. Maybe that'll help me out. Biblical map of the Amorites and Gibeonites. Okay, so they're just Canaanites, man. So is Ai there, or is Jericho? Where do they dwell? The Amorites were a prominent group in Canaan during the biblical period, and the Gibeonites were Hivite people who inhabited the city of Gibeon. So now they're Hivites and not Amorites. The Amorites controlled several cities in Canaan, including Jerusalem, Hebron, and Jarmuth, which were attacked by Joshua's forces. Gibeon, located north of Jerusalem, was initially inhabited by Hivites, but some biblical accounts also refer to them as Amorites. So they're all Canaanites, just intermingled with each other. Oh, man. Let me keep reading. Key points. Amorites were a powerful group in Canaan with control over several key cities. Gibeonites, a Hivite people who lived in Gibeon, known for making a treaty with Joshua. The Amorite/Hivite connection. The Gibeonites were initially identified as Hivites, but later accounts also described them as Amorites. So, oh man, that's confusing, man. So we know they're Canaanites. So I'm just trying to see if Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, applies to them too. And of course, it does, but because they made a covenant, the Lord had respect to it. Okay, 2 Samuel 21. And 2 again, and the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. What does that mean? Slay them in his zeal. Let me ask. What does it mean that Saul sought to slay the Gibeonites in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah? I should have said. Excellent question. The phrase in 2 Samuel 21:2 gives us insight into Saul's motives, and it's layered with meaning, both political and spiritual. Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. What does this mean? It's in simple terms, Saul killed or tried to kill the Gibeonites because he was overzealous to defend or promote the interests of Israel and Judah, possibly in the name of nationalistic or religious purity. Let's break down more fully. Zeal, intense passion or devotion. The Hebrew word translated zeal, qanah, means jealousy, fervent passion, or intense concern. It's often used in a religious or nationalistic sense. Saul was trying to show himself as a zealous protector of Israel, even if it meant violating a covenant with outsiders. See? Saul be going off, man. For the children of Israel and Judah, at this point in biblical history, Israel and Judah were still one united kingdom, but the language here hints at their emerging distinction. Saul may have seen the Gibeonites, foreigners, as a threat or a blemish on Israel's land, possibly politically or religiously. What did Saul likely do? Scripture doesn't give us a detailed account of Saul's actions against the Gibeonites elsewhere, but this verse confirms he violated Israel's covenant with them in Joshua 9. He shed innocent blood, as God confirms in 2 Samuel 21:1. He may have massacred or expelled many Gibeonites, possibly to purify the land or please Israelites who saw them as a problem. So, like, this goes to show you, man. So Chappie getting into it, man, and it's good to get into it, to the best you can, because some things, it's not always right, but you can kind of, if you know a little bit, you can find what you're looking for, if because it's hard to really get into the meat, of the situation, but there's a lot of insight when you get into it where you can learn something, man. 2 Samuel 21:3, wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you, and wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, what ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, the man that consumed us and that devised against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in any other coast of... Salakia, hold on. What is going on? Okay, let me read that again. 2 Samuel 21:4, and the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, what ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, the man that consumed us and that devised against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in any other coast of Israel, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth. Let's go into that. I believe that's Jonathan's son, who was like lame. He couldn't walk. Let me double check. Mephibosheth. Let's get this in Hebrew. Try to pronounce it. What's this character here? This character here is This is Ma. This is second character, Mapa. Second character is a Pa. This is a Ya. I believe this is a Ba. Mapaya Ba Sha. Sha Kha. I believe this is a Kha. Okay. So Mapaya Ba Sha Kha. Mapa. I know it sounds crazy when you pronounce it, but sometimes the Hebrew will work itself out when you're trying to. You gotta practice it. Let's see what he says. I'm saying Mapaya Bashacha. Mapaya Bashacha. Mapaya Bashaka. No, this is it, am I saying that wrong? No, this is a tha, Salakia. This is a tha at the end. The cha and the tha kind of look alike. But this is a tha. Okay, let me read it again. Mapaya bashata. Mapaya ba. Mapaya bashata. Mapaya bashata. Mapaya basheth. Let's see.
Strong's H, 4648. Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth.
No.
Second entry. Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth.
Mephibosheth. I don't know, man. I think he going off. Mapaya bashata. Mapashaba. Mapaya bashatha. That's what it sounds like, but I know I'm going off on it. But those are the characters. Mapaya bashata. Okay. But for context, it's Mephibosheth, exterminating the idol, son of Saul and son of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, Saul's concubine. He and his brother Armani were among the 7 victims surrendered by David to the Gibeonites to avert famine. Son of Jonathan and grandson of Saul. That's who I think this is. But let me just double check, because he's saying son of Saul and son of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, Saul's concubine. Let me see. Saul's sons. Let's look it up. I don't know all of his sons. The name of King Saul and all of his sons.
Saul's sons include Jonathan, Ishbosheth, and 4 others.
So he does have a miss for Bosheth. That's Ishbosheth, Abinadab, Armani, Machishua. Okay. But then the name of Jonathan, King Saul's son. The son of Jonathan, King Saul's son, was named Mephibosheth. In some texts, his name is written as Merib-Baal or Memphibal. He was the grandson of King Saul. So I think in 2 Samuel, the 21st verse is talking about son of Jonathan, grandson of Saul, because we're in the 21st chapter, but in 2 Samuel 9 and 6, it says right here, now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence, and David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, behold, thy servant. He says, thou therefore and thy sons and thy servant shall till the land for him. And he's talking to his servant, but basically, right here, 2 Samuel 9:11. Then said Ziba unto the king, according to all that my lord the king have commanded his servant, so shall thy servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons. So he showed favoritism because Jonathan, his son, of course he was going to do that. David loved Jonathan. Oh yeah, all right, for you people out there. If you didn't know that. So I believe this, I didn't know Saul also had a son named Mephibosheth, according to Google. So Mephibosheth, same thing. Okay, I don't want to get off topic. I just wanted to get that. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of, it even said it in the precept, I should have just read it, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. So the Lord keeping all of his oaths. And as a matter of fact, I want to get this covenant between them. 2 Samuel 21:7. Covenant, KJV. Where is that covenant that they made? 2 Samuel 21 and where am I? Let's go into the blue letter, go into the tools, go into cross references. because of the Lord's oath that was made between them. 1 Samuel 18:3. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. Let's go over there real quick. Jonathan and David, 1 Samuel 18:1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. So he just made a covenant with him. Okay, let me see. I'm going to this. 1 Samuel 18:3. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved them as his own soul. This verse describes the close friendship between Jonathan and the Saul of King Saul and David, who had recently gained popularity for killing the Philistine giant Goliath. Jonathan recognized David's character and God's favor upon him, formed a covenant of friendship with David, demonstrating a deep love and loyalty for him. Okay, the verse highlights the establishment of a covenant, a formal agreement between Jonathan and David. Does it get any deeper than that? Let's see what it says. Let's ask chat. In 1 Samuel 18:3, the friendship covenant that Jonathan made with King David, was that a common thing to do in that time? I don't know what I'm asking. Let me see what it pops up. Because great question. You're asking something that gets into ancient cultural practices, especially around covenants and loyalty. Yes, making covenants even between individuals was a common and serious practice in ancient times, though the depth and meaning of the one between Jonathan and David was exceptional, especially given who they were. In biblical times, a covenant, Hebrew berith, was more than just a promise. It was a binding, sacred agreement often made before God with signs or rituals, cutting animals, exchanging garments like they did, and sometimes sealed with oaths or sacrifices. Types of covenants in the ancient world: between nations, peace treaties between kings and subjects, vassal treaties between friends or families, between God and man, as in Noah, Abraham, or Moses. Was a friendship covenant common? Yes, but it was less common and very serious, especially in this case. A few things to note. Jonathan was the crown prince. Jonathan was the rightful heir to King Saul. David, though a war hero, was seen as a rival to the throne, though not by Jonathan. Making a covenant with David meant Jonathan was voluntarily surrendering his royal claim out of love and loyalty. This was a covenant of loyalty and protection. It wasn't just friendship, it was an alliance. Jonathan even asked David to spare his descendants. When David became king in 1 Samuel 20:14 and 15, let me grab that. 1 Samuel 20:14 and 15. And thou shalt not only while yet I live show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not, but also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord have cut off the enemies of David, everyone from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemies. Ooh, and Jonathan caused David to swear again because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. Okay. Oh, I was already there. Exchanging garments and weapons. Jonathan gave David his robe, armor, sword, bow, and belt. This was a symbolic act, possibly showing recognition of David's future kingship, a transfer of loyalty or status, a sign of deep personal devotion. That's deep because, like I said, he's the next heir to King Saul at the time, and he was ruling. So for him to do that, being in such a high position, but recognizing King David as the Lord dealing with him, clearly shows you that David had to, he has, you could clearly see who the Lord is dealing with. And we're going to be seeing that again in these last days too, who the Lord is clearly dealing with. So while covenants between individuals, including friends or allies, were not unheard of, what makes this one unique is the high stakes kingship, legacy, life, the self-sacrificial nature, Jonathan giving up his own claim, genuine love behind it. He loved him as his own soul. Okay. It says, in when I'm reading in the Chat GPT, it says feature covenants between individuals, common in ancient times. It says yes, and it says under this, I'm reading like a chart. It says how Jonathan and David stood out. This one involved the covenants between individuals, royalty, and possible succession to the throne. That's deep, man. Yeah, that's deep. Final thought, the covenant between Jonathan and David was not just cultural, it was profoundly spiritual and personal. It reflected God's hand in shaping David's rise and Jonathan's humble, faithful character, even in the face of personal loss. Yeah, that's. You want to point with that one, chat. You want to point with that one, because you read the end of when Jonathan and Saul died, and that was kind of the beginning of King David being acknowledged as king. So all these things that were happening were spiritual. Even it's the Lord. Okay. So when we go back to 2 Samuel 21, so I dropped it. And no, 2 Samuel 21. I don't know why I dropped it. Actually, I can just skip back. 2 Samuel 21 and 8. But the king took the two sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul. But the king took the two sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. Who's Aiah? Who's Rizpah? Who are these people? Rizpah, payment, a concubine of King Saul and mother of Armani and Mephibosheth. Okay, so I think Mephibosheth might be his son, because he has a son named Mephibosheth and a grandson. King Saul does. But the king took the two sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. Okay, let's find out who Aiah is. Oh, that Sheikh Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. Who's Aiah? Actually, let me pronounce this right. Aiah. Aiah. Yeah, okay. A falcon, a Horite, son of Zibeon, father of Rizpah, Saul's concubine. So Aiah's the father. I thought that was the mother. Okay, so it's going back to her father, the daughter of Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armani, and Mephibosheth. And the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul. And the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Maholathite. Who's Michal, the daughter of Saul? The 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul. Let me just look at how do you pronounce that? Michal. Let me get this in the Hebrew. This character here is a what is this character here? There's no. Is this a ma? This is a ma. Ya. Maya. Is that a ba? No, that's a ka. Mayakhala. Mayakhala. No, not chala, but mayaka. La. Mayakal. Mayakal. Michael.
Strong's H 4324. Michal. Michal.
Michal. Mayakala. This is a la. So Mayakala. Michal. I guess I agree with it. Michal. Okay. The daughter of King Saul, sister of Jonathan, wife of King David. Okay, and mother of 5, given to David as wife for the bride price of 100 Philistine foreskins. While still married to David, her father gave her in marriage to another, Phaltiel. At the death of Saul, David forced her to return. And he had to cut off foreskins to get her, man. Okay, and whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai. Who's Adriel? I just want to get all of this because you gotta know all these names, man. Adriel. What's the point of having the internet if you don't even know the names that are being said here? Adriel, flock of God. Okay, let me get this. I gotta. Any opportunity I get to use the Hebrew, I'm gonna use it. This first character here is looks like a Y. That's an I. That's an I. So this character here is the duh. This is a Ra. 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 Ya Allah. Ra Ya Allah. Ra Ya Allah. Ra Ya. Ah, man, it's tough. Let's see what he says.
Strong's H 5741. Adriel. Adriel.
Adriel. Yeah, I see it. I hear it. Adriel. Yeah. Okay. I get that. I give you that. I give you that. Son of Barzillai, and the man to whom Saul gave his daughter Merab in marriage, although she was already promised to David. Okay, so son of Barzillai, Adriel, flock of God, and the man to whom Saul gave daughter Merab in marriage, although she was already promised to David. Okay. Whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Maholathite. I don't know what this is telling me. Let me just look this up. Look this up real quick. 2 Samuel 21:8. Hold on, I don't want to make this too long either. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish this. In the next chapter, describes King David handing over 7 descendants of Saul to the Gibeonites to be executed. These individuals were 2 sons of Saul's concubine Rizpah, Armani and Mephibosheth, and 5 sons of Saul's daughter Michal, though the text indicates they were actually raised by Michal, but were the sons of the sister of Merab. This act was done to atone for Saul's sin of breaking a treaty with the Gibeonites, which had resulted in a famine. Ooh, this was horrible, man. 2 Samuel 21:9, I'm going to end on this. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord, and they fell all 7 together and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of barley harvest. Okay, I'm gonna end it there, but I was starting with Matthew the 5th chapter, but then I got caught over here. But let me just read this again. Ye shall have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. Okay, and so, and that means to murder, man. But I was trying to get into. They made a covenant in Joshua the 9th chapter with the Gibeonites, and I was using 2 Samuel the 21st chapter to try to explain why, which matches up with Joshua the 9th chapter, why that happened. But Genesis the 9th chapter was going into, if you kill a man, you should be killed. You basically murder. You're not supposed to murder. But I think from the study, from doing this video, I found out that because Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, Joshua going into somebody else's land, the land of Canaan, even though it belonged to, it was given to them as an inheritance, the Lord sent them in there to go kill. Okay, that was technically their land first, but and they were appointed to die, technically, according to Deuteronomy 7th chapter. But the Lord, because of the covenant that was made, that's why Saul's sons had to die. But if there was no covenant made, then it would have been business as usual. That's what That's what Joshua and the Israelites were supposed to do. That was the commandment given to them. Okay, but it's Saul, man. See, Saul, he was wicked, man. He was wicked. 1 Samuel 15th chapter, he was told to go kill the Amalekites, everybody. And the Lord appointed them to do that. So when it comes to the heathen, it's a different thing. But when you make a covenant with the heathen and do it, that's different. But I'm ending right there. Lord's will, that was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakwada. Shalom.